What is up, boys and girls? We're going to take on a 15 plus 10 and just see what happens. So I'm down at 1466 right now. My opponent, wow, Oleksandr Kamainsky from Ukraine, 1486, has the white pieces and hasn't started yet. So we'll see what happens. Hope you admired the colour coordination. I've managed to pair yellow with maroon, which, it has to be said, is, takes some skill to carry off. Skill that I don't have. Well, he's not interested. Oleksandr Kamainsky. Okay. So we're going to have to start a new one then, aren't we? 8, 7, 6. He's not interested. You don't want to fight me. Oh, he's shown up. Look at this. Okay, well, we are going Freddy Krueger. Let's go Krueger on him. Okay, well, he's burnt half a minute, and we have the Italian game. Okay, so here's the Russo Gambit. If takes, I'm going to push on. Been playing more blitz recently. Okay, he's taken. This is inaccurate already. Okay. Moving a pawn twice in the opening, but it comes with tempo, so it doesn't count. And either the knight's going to retreat or we have queen e2. There is really nothing else. My knight guards these squares, like in the Vienna Gambit, and the queen guards these two, like in the Vienna Gambit. So if you think about it, it's identical to the Vienna Gambit, with the exception that white already has this bishop out. But we can quite often win the initiative off white by hitting that bishop with tempo, forcing the bishop to make another move, you see. So that's why this is perfect, I think, for a Vienna player with the black when they have the black pieces. That's the whole idea behind the Freddy Krueger repertoire. Okay, Oleksandr is really taking his time. Kamyansky. Oleksandr Kamyansky. Okay. Always have to be wary of any time this knight moves, the queen could come into the h5 square with check, so we have to watch out for that. And there are ways to defend against it. If you ever capture this pawn with your light squared bishop, which you can often do, then the bishop can just drop back to g6, again with tempo. The queen can come to the f6 square as well, maybe to defend this pawn. Also, additionally, if the queen's ever on this diagonal, then sometimes you can just meet queen h5 check with g6, even if this pawn is here. Because if the pawn takes, and white's thinking, oh, I'll grab a rook after that, but no, because the queen defends. Come on, Oleksandr. Everyone's getting bored waiting for you, mate. So Oleksandr's compatriot, Alexei Novikov, won the Europe's Strongest Man this year, which was great to see. They show them all on the TV around this time of year, and then the actual World's Strongest Man, which was already held in the summer in California, I think. Looks like Oleksandr has deserted us. Yeah, the actual event's held in the summer, but they televise it here between Christmas and New Year. It's a bit of a family tradition for us. The Brits are quite good at strength athletics, along with the USA, kind of a lot of Central European countries like Latvia and stuff like that. Where did Big Z come from? Zadrinas Savickas. Not quite sure where he came from, but yeah, and Iceland is particularly good at strongman. They've produced at least 2 World's Strongest Man winners. Britain's done at least 2 as well, of course. Starting with like Jeff Capes in the 1970s. I think it was late 70s. Might have been the 80s actually for Capes. I've met Jeff Capes. I was at school with his son, and we both did shot put. So there you go. Right, a terribly boring game here from Alexander, but it's very unusual. He's spent 3 minutes on this move. So his previous 3 moves were pretty quick. I mean, he's an Italian player, so he knew what he was doing. He just wasn't quite sure about this. But then he captured the pawn after less than 10 seconds, just under 10 seconds of thought. But it looks as though we've lost radio contact with Alexander. So I'll have to do another one, won't we? Yeah, my wife has also met Jeff Capes, because and it was also to do with athletics, because she was at she was helping as like a buddy at an athletics event, again in like the mid to late 80s, and Jeff Capes' daughter was at that event, and Sally was her buddy. So all very interesting. He was a very big chap. So, in other news, Big Fat Challenge is still pressing ahead for the new year. That's going to be a lot of fun. Looking to sign up a few affiliates, help us promote that. And we're also hatching a plan for Chess Bootcamp for the new year. A potential new product or service that we could offer at a much lower price point than the live sessions, which are great fun, and we all agreed we just didn't want to stop doing those. But got a really nice idea, something quite unique on the market, I think, for you guys. But we're just talking about it now, and I promise to keep you informed. Right, looks like this fella's deserted us, unfortunately. So we're going to have to wait until it abandons, and I mean, he's still a pawn up. But yes. So, I mean, let's go through it, right? So, from this position, I mean, he's only played one move. You really shouldn't take the pawn. For the same reason as in the Vienna Gambit, you shouldn't take the pawn, because of this move, okay? So you will quite often see pawn to d3, you then play your bishop out to c5, bringing us into the Lucchini Gambit, which is also very sharp. Oh dear, he abandoned, yeah. Anyway, well, let's... So apparently the best move here is knight to d4. That's interesting. Knight to d4, and if we take... Well, let's have a look at that. Knight to d4 appears to hang a knight, but maybe it doesn't. Because if we take... Then you get queen h5 check, right. Interesting. So queen h5 check, and there is really no way to defend other than either to move the king or to push g6. And actually g6 is the better option here. But after fg, you're kind of buggered. And then we have to push queen f6, but it's +2 for white here. So that's a good one to remember. Okay, well, let's go for another one. Let's see what we get. There we go. Now this is Quantum Chicken, and they're playing the Vienna. Awesome. Been waiting for this. The Vienna Gambit. I decline your gambit, sir. Because we've got an idea here, haven't we? Are you going to play the Paulsen? Of course you are. Right. We did some prep on this, didn't we, guys? And Quantum Chicken suddenly is taking a lot longer over his moves, because he's taken less than 2 seconds on every move so far. And you've got to tread carefully. If knight takes knight, then we play knight to d4. Very typical move, right? You're bored of hearing me say it, but, you know, in the Vienna, these knights coming in, these queen's knights coming in, hitting the c-pawn with forking opportunities. Everyone likes a forking opportunity. And what are you going to do? He's played 5 moves and he's won himself 50 seconds, and he's used at least those 50 seconds now on move number 6. He doesn't know what to do. He has pinned my knight. Ha. Well, that looks like a decent move. And quite honestly, I don't know what the response is. I can hit his queen. Yeah, I can do this. Hit the queen. I could simply break the pin. If I break the pin, is he going to take? Doesn't queen then win that pawn? And I go down a pawn. So I suspect it's this. I suspect we have to take the knight on c3. I mean, my knight's in a good position here, but it's, you know, there is also tension going on. This, where's the queen going to go? Okay, so she can't stay there. Can't go there, can't go there. Obviously can't go to there. So she's got quite a few options by the look of it. It's very hard to figure out what Quantum Chicken's going to do in this eventuality. We could, let's consider a6, putting the question to the bish. If bish takes, we've got the same situation here. So I think, yeah, I'm going to go with that move. Quantum Chicken is higher rated than me by only 25 points, but that's enough to make it a 9-7 game. Okay, so we have two attackers on this side. It seems to me as though bishop to d7 is a no-brainer. The knight can't move because it's pinned. So bishop d7 is an idea. Queen d7 is also an idea. But my queen has quite good prospects out here in this direction. I mean, we could consider queen h4 check now. I think we should. I think it would be sensible. It would be wise, my friend. So let's say they do this. Now g3 is not clever because of queen e4 check with a fork on king and rook. So if we go here, the only other way to block it, other than to move the king onto a light square, is going to be queen there, and that's not good. So I propose queen h4 check. At least it's not vampire chicken. We don't want to be against vampire chicken. There we go. Now, I can... I think... I mean, I didn't really think that through, did I? I mean, I could have done that, but I just saw the opportunity to give him doubled and isolated pawns and just bit his hand off at that point. Now, don't be hasty, Hunty. Come on. Do it properly. Bishop here prevents long castles because it guards that square. I like this. If bishop takes here, I'll just recapture with the pawn and... yeah. See, I'm wary. I'm wary about thinking about castling short because of these two open files. So I don't know if I want to do that. I do not believe you want to do that. This just feels a bit meh to me. But here... But then if I castle long, he's going to take the knight and expose my king after b recaptures. This is problem. Here... Or do we just put the question to the bishop? There's no queen on the board. If he goes back, then I need to know what is my plan, right? A lot of beginners will just try and kick like a pinning bishop without having decided, well, if he just drops back, are you going to double kick? Are you really? Is that the plan? And we don't know. So, how do you decide what is best in a situation like this? This is slow, but it works. This is weakening. However, there's no queens. And no queens means a much lower opportunity for both players to launch very powerful attacking sequences. You can't have like a supported queen checkmate, for example. So is this an idea? Is him putting his bishop there a bad thing? But he still has two bishops. So, but if I do this, right, and then I castle, and then I kick the bish. Or I do this, and then I castle, and then I capture the pawn. Is it the right thing to do? Bishop f5 is also a thought, targeting that. But that's probably just going to prompt him to push d3. And that releases the DSB, which we're just handing him a free play there. So with all this in mind, I can't think of anything better than the conservative-looking bishop to d7. So Vampire Chicken, if you are not aware, is the alter ego account of Jonathan Schrantz, who is an IM, very good chess teacher. There's lots and lots of great YouTube videos, and I don't want to play him, of course. And he loves gambits and he loves his traps. So, he's a hero. Now, my instant thought is to castle. I also kind of want to challenge for the center. I'm going to need to damage this pawn structure at some point. I'm imagining he's going to want to play c3. But if his king's on here, if I do this, he's just going to push c3 anyway with tempo. What's the point in that? Stupid idea. Stupid idea, son. This maybe... See, developing a bishop is a good idea in general, but developing a bishop to a bad square is not. So what's the point? I might stick it here. I might push f6 and contest this nice advanced pawn center that he's got. Okay. Well, it's rook e8 because this just fails. Yeah, if I recapture, right, if we go back one, I do this, he takes. I can't take back because bishop takes, and my rooks are both under attack, which would be ghastly, perfectly ghastly. Okay, I'm going to try and trade off the bishops now. That would leave me with a bishop and him with no bishop. And I kind of like that. I think that favours black, if anything, with the board as it is. My rook now has an opportunity to swing out into the board. I don't think he wants to push e6 anyway. So what's opponent? Okay, he's going to activate the horse. Activate the horse! Okay, rook e6 is a candidate move. Pawn to h6 is a candidate move because right now my rook is busy babysitting that pawn. Now, question for the class. Where does this knight want to come? c3 is very obvious square. It's a natural square for a knight. f4 is also a nice square and kind of hits this pawn, but could be hit by pawns himself. So my money's probably on this. And now we need a kind of a strategy. How are we going to continue? This feels like a move, because then we can come over to g6 and attack this pawn, but also he's just defending that pawn. So I'm going to push pawn to h6 now, which frees up this guy to go about his day. I'm still considering pawn to f6, and if takey we get oh, horse incoming. What's that about? Is that a silly idea? Hit the horse, get lost horse, right? He can't take this pawn because of the bish, right? He can't come here because rook takes him, or pawn. He can't come here because pawn takes him. If he goes here, and I kick, is he going to slide himself in there? I don't like that idea very much at all, really. Rook here gets taken. That doesn't work. So he has come out. He has come this way. He doesn't have prospects though. Not really. What if I push g6 now? g6 stops him coming there, which stops him coming there. Yes. Yes, I think I shall. G6, there we go. I'm using a lot more time than my chicken-flavoured friend. But the other problem is he's shut the door on this rook, which vexes me. This pawn's right in the way of my bishop. So right now, in the battle of the minor pieces, that knight is looking actually very good. So I didn't even consider g5. Should I have considered g5? Telling the knight to shove off. Now I can still swallow my pride and play g5 if it's the right move to play. But I thought about g6. I never thought about pushing g5 because I'm a muppet. This knight there is on my nerves. It's attacking the pawn, which ties the bishop down, and the bishop's in a stupid position, right? It stops my rook from swinging out. In fact, my rook didn't have a way out into the board anyway, because I've just blocked it off. Haven't I? Right then. The two reasons for that move. One is to defend this pawn, which is already defended. The other is to double up rooks. If he wants to double up rooks, I always have this, but then he's going to push a pawn, isn't he? That's the idea. So I am going to do this move. Pawn to g5, which stops these two in their tracks. And that's kind of important. The knight has to move, and then I can play rook e6, and lo and behold, I have two defenders on here in case he plays rook d to h1. By the way, this move would be annotated as rook 2 to h1, because it's already on h. And he's come into his little hole, hasn't he? Like we thought he would. Okay, right. However, I have this bishop. The bishop is now freed. Okay, and quite honestly, where are you going from there? Now I can't do that because he captures en passant, hitting my rook, and I can't recapture. Can I play here? There, captures en passant. I can't recapture the rook because knight takes rook. So it's still annoying. But in other news, this is possible. But if I do that, let's say I put bishop here and he does this. It's all right. I really don't know if I can confidently claim that this bishop is a better piece. I think this centre that he's got is quite annoying. But if he does nothing, I do have this option which wins the knight if I want. And I think without this knight, my rook becomes a lot more active. Okay, so yeah, he's hit the bishop. That's what we thought. But from there, you've got... No, you can't go there. I mean, let's say the bishop moves. Okay, I've got this idea. I've got this idea. But I don't see where he's going to go from there. I mean, he could do this or... Well, not that. That don't work. Could do there and like double up attention on there. But with bishop here, I can still take him. So this is my move. Oh, I think I've just hung a pawn. I didn't sanity check it, did I? Right, knight takes pawn, hits rook, rook d7 hits knight back. Yeah, that was silly. That was silly of me. If there we find ourselves in a repetition. I could drop the rook back to the back rank. I've given up a pawn now. So I come back here, or I think back rank here. So, I mean, I am looking at this pawn. So if I can shift this rook, but he does have two squares still on the d file, so he'd have to do that. That was silly. What else should I have done there? Maybe just even c6 and allow the trade. That's probably better. We can find out later. Okay, here we go with a massive chain of pawns. And an outposted knight now as well. This is not fun. This is really bad, actually, position. My rooks can't come to these squares. My king might have to come and try and get involved. I don't know. I can't even go there. That knight's just a monster now. And it's all of my own making. Here, he can just take. He's probably got plans of this. I think this is absolutely dire. I think this is absolutely dire. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm going to throw in the towel and we're going to analyse and find out what went wrong. Yeah, it's a plus 2.5. And here the best move was apparently c6, followed by h5 even, look, you know, and then king b8. So, yeah, really horrible situation. But let's have a look at the game review. Did I play like a 1400 or did I play a lot worse? We'll find out. So this nice beta guessed that 82.5. My opponent played out of his skin. My opponent played really well. 3 inaccuracies, no mistakes, no misses, no blunders. All right. Yeah, the game didn't go my way, and he played a 2100 level. Okay. Wow. Wow. We both played the opening super duper well. I played okay in the middle game. He played really well in the middle game. Okay, so let's see where it went Pete Tong. Okay, and this is all normal. Okay, good. So this is our response to the Paulsen with knight c6. If bishop pin, we take the knight, according to this machine. Queen takes c3 is inaccurate. Was it d4? Should I have played d4? No, this was best. And we have a slight edge here. But I let that edge slip. What did I do? Good, best move. Best move, obviously, has to recapture. Now, we are slightly better, and I felt slightly better. And White's position here is poor, right? So I did this. It says kick the bishop, right? We had a long conversation about this. Well, I did. Yeah, it says that's all right. It's not actually 0.87 to 0.89. It's identically good. But kicking the bishop, it said was better. If we kick the bishop, the computer says he would have traded off. Okay, well, that's not the end of the world. And yeah, bishop here to prevent that, right? But I played it a bit on the conservative side with this. He takes, and it says B takes here. It says B takes after all. Because look at this bishop ended up really bad. It's a tall pawn. Because its job is to sit in the pawn chain and defend d5. Best move, that wasn't brilliant. He says you should develop your bishop. So I just missed. You see, bishop e7 would have prevented all of this shenanigans, right? So I move, okay, good. And that is inaccurate. He's saying lift your rook. Don't think I considered that at this point in the game. Okay, trading off. And now it says tiniest edge for white, right? There's nothing. Knight out, good. Okay. So what it's saying here, I think, is get the damn bishop involved in the game. Use your pawn to defend the pawn. But put the bishop somewhere useful, like this diagonal. It wasn't impressed with that, and no, I've given away basically a pawn's worth of advantage there. That's actually a very decent move, but so's that, and that's not. I thought I liked the look of this, but actually from this square I have the same. I have the same fork if I want it. Yeah. And this is basically, well, it's a fork on the bishop and pawn. I just didn't notice the pawn. And that's a mistake. Oh. Rook up there was the best move. Yeah. And he's got himself an outpost, you see. So an outpost is very often occupied by a knight, but it means you're on a square in your opponent's territory, defended very often by a pawn, but there's no pawns that can ever disturb you from that place, because my pawns are either off the board or too far forwards. Okay. So I'm intrigued by this move. This move, knight takes d5, then it's saying rook d8, and we have some activity. Yeah, we're a pawn down, but we went the pawn down anyway. Okay, so he comes in, I do that, which wasn't great. He wins the pawn for free, but that wasn't even best. He should have doubled up his rooks. And he's in a winning situation, and that was just... This was my mistake. Rook e6 was best. Lifting the rook after all. Probably coming over to c6. Putting more pressure on here. Yeah? Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah, game may have continued, but just outplayed on the day, which is all good. But the point is, I've learned a lesson from it. Yeah, if you don't learn the lesson, then you're simply not going to improve. That's the long and short of it. So, yeah, tough one, but I'm finding my way around playing against Vienna. At least now I feel like I've got a line playing against the Vienna Gambit, and I certainly made him think. But I just wasn't a match for his level of 2,000 plus accuracy today. So well done to Quantum Chicken, and thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.